call the meeting to order, if I could, please.
Now he's trying to tell Bill that it's thinking it's so expensive to build.
I don't know. Do I speak loud enough for everybody? Or do you need mine? I need mine now. Better?
No.
It's there. How's that?
Better.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to call the meeting to order, if I could, please. Ron had surgery on his mouth today, so he's unable to basically talk. So he asked me if I would run the meeting tonight. So I said I would, so please be patient with me. We're trying to get through this together. I think if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance first, please.
Pledge to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tom, not to split hairs, but aren't the residents supposed to determine who runs this meeting?
Ron asked me if I would stand.
Yeah, I understand that. That isn't the way.
My understanding, if the other board members don't have an issue with it, I can stand in as Ron. Yeah, that's my understanding of it.
Get your clerk first so we can report this.
Okay. So, first order of business, for tonight only, ask John if he would stand in and take notes and be the clerk for the evening only, and he agreed to do this. So thank you, John, for doing this.
Want to recognize him? I'm ready.
Okay, George, could you repeat your question again then? Please?
I already got my answer, I ain't repeating it. By the way, my wife says to tell you hi.
Thank you.
I want to make a comment.
Can I repeat this point of order? It was how the chairperson is selected, since the chairperson can't do it tonight. And it just by statute falls to one of the town board members if they're here. So Tom here is just taking it up for tonight.
I am a current board member, and I was not aware of this at all. So if it's got to be approved by the rest of the board, I don't know why Tom was selected.
You're on the board right now?
I am currently on the board. That is correct for the next 4 hours.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. So,
No.
till 12 p.m. I am. And so is Kevin. And so is Bob. Bob is wherever, but
as of, okay. So my name is Lee Toroni. I'm the town attorney. I will participate some as much as it's useful. I'm not here to run the meeting, just to help answer questions. The question relates to the terms of office, and the new terms start as of the third Tuesday in April, which was midnight last night.
tonight.
No, midnight tonight is the third Wednesday in April.
Today's Tuesday.
I hate to tell you that, but this is just.
When Tuesday started, it's the new terms of office.
So technically, yesterday we should have been asked, right? Or is this just
You wouldn't be eligible to serve, to do that today because you're not on the board today.
okay? Sure.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
And this did happen today.
Do you have written proof of that?
It's in the town ordinance.
Well, yeah, it's in the statutes. That's in section 60.30.
You got it with you?
I did.
The town,
Let me see it.
the town ordinance around.
I don't care about the town ordinance. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to him. Just hack your computer and we'll be good.
Actually, I'm taking notes, but whatever.
You what?
I'm taking notes. As the
I don't care what you do.
Follow up with this?
Up to
Really,
you.
I don't.
You maintain order.
So, do you want to come up and look at this? Is that what you want, George? Or?
Or you can bring it over to me. Point it out.
Tom, what's the agenda tonight as far as?
I'm sorry?
Do you want the full agenda?
Yes.
Yeah.
The 60/30 that we circled was that
The agenda is welcome and call to order. Pledge of allegiance is first. Roll call, sign in upon arrival. Number 2. Number 3 is reading of previous town annual meeting minutes, April 2021. Number 4 is review and discussion of 2021 town of Macmillan annual meeting minutes, and ask if there are any questions. There is a motion needed for this agenda item. Number 5 is review highway work from 2021 and proposed highway work for 2022. Number 6 is committee reports as requested by voting members. Number 7 is set next year's meeting date, April 18th, 2023, the third Tuesday of April 2023. Number 8 is announcements. The tire recycling is going to be happening on April 30th, 2022 from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Pancras Trucking. There is a red ID card needed and recycled tires available at this meeting. Board of Review is May 4th, 2022 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Number 9 is motion to adjourn.
And I noticed, I'm Judy Gadke, and that's something that I don't think happened the last time, is for people to identify themselves, because it's nice to know, you don't have to, if you talk 15 times, I don't think you have to say your name every time, but I do think it's helpful to know who people are and where they live, because that helps you get kind of a context of where they live and why they might be asking the questions they're asking. And for you all to introduce yourself, because so it's just helpful.
I want to introduce people here. We got a little bit sidetracked here. So I'm Tom Seifert. I'm a board supervisor. This is John Kokel. He is, as of today, a new board member. And this is Lee Throwing, our attorney for the township.
So if we have questions, we ask anytime, or is there a specific comment sensitive area?
I don't have a specific discussion except for the meeting minutes.
Lee, how does that work when this is our meeting?
Let's address the minutes.
Okay.
We'll do that next.
You want to go through the minutes, you're saying? Okay. As far as the minutes for last year's meeting, we could not find them. I don't know if everybody knows, but we had the clerk and the treasurer resign Saturday afternoon. Monday was as soon as we could get into the office, and we could not find the minutes for last year's meeting, so that we could talk about them. So I'm gonna have to table it until November's meeting. There's nothing else I can do, we could not find them. Any questions on that?
So do we have a motion to table minutes till November?
That would be nice.
Then I'll make a motion to table 2021 minutes until November 2022 annual town meeting for budget. I'd second it.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to table the 2021 minutes until the November meeting of 2022, and I have a second. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, business of the meeting? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I guess we are,
Are you doing the announcements first or last?
who's here?
Yep.
Right now.
Okay. Tell them what you're doing.
For the agenda items, yep. So. Okay, we're down to 5 right now. Review highway work for 2021 and proposed highway work for 2022. So in 2021, Birch Tree Road was blacktop. Scott Avenue Bridge is basically done. There are a couple small items they have to do yet when it warms up, if it does. Man Street grant, we did apply for a grant from Man Street for the first mile. And that's from Lincoln to St. Joe's. And we got it back in a couple weeks. And what they did with this grant, it was passed at the county level, and then it goes to the state. And what the state does, from what I understand now, is that they get all the grants that are coming in, and they put them up against each other, and then they place you where they think they want you to fit. And what the information we got back, we were approved for the grant, but it wasn't what we actually applied for. We applied for an 80-60, and they put us in a 50-50. So basically what it is we have to come up just shy of $600,000 to do that 1 mile on Man Road.
You mean 80-20, not 80-60.
Did I say that? I'm sorry. Yes, it was 80-20. I'm sorry.
What was that number?
Just under $600,000.
Thank you.
So as of right now, I'm doing a couple things. One is I'm trying to get information to see how much it would actually cost to grind, put about a 6-inch lift in for the whole road versus just a mile. And the numbers I have coming in right now, I don't want to project anything, but I'm thinking around the 4 to 450, we could do the whole road doing that, realistically. I don't have the exact numbers yet, but some of the numbers I have, I projected out, and that's what I'm coming up with. I am meeting with the bank on Thursday to see where we stand, what the best options are, and that's why I wanted to bring this up tonight, because I want to bring it to the people. Because it's our township. I will do what you want, but I do want some feedback on this. I personally don't think it's worth just getting a grant for the purpose of getting a grant and free money. If we have to come up with $600,000 or just shy of that, it doesn't make sense to me that if we could do the whole 2 miles for $200,000 less, why don't we try to do that? And that's the direction I'm leaning.
1000 Bayou 118604 Birch Tree Road. Could you explain the difference of what the road would be with the $400,000 versus the $600,000?
Okay, so
So what does that grind and whatever mean?
grinding would be taking the asphalt out, grinding it out, and then we put a 6-inch, basically, lift on it, gravel lift, and then we would repave it, 3.5 inches over top of that. Okay?
So it would be paved here.
So what?
It would still be paved.
Yes, it would be paved. Yes, yes, it would be paved.
Lift
Okay.
would go down first, and then it would be pulverized to mix the aggregates together.
Technically, yes.
Judy Gadke, and what would be the longevity of doing it one way versus whatever the other, what we were going to do?
Okay, so if we follow the grant and go with that, we have until 23, the end of 23 to finish it up. If we go the other way, that is up to us, but we're trying to get something done so it's done, the whole thing at once. Just get it done. We're in there, follow through and get it done.
I think she means how long.
Yeah, I don't think I made myself
It
clear.
would,
How
it would
long
be
would
2
it
miles.
last?
It would be the whole 2 miles. That's-
But how long would it last? 5 years?
Oh,
1 year?
I would guess, and I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing 10 to 20 years.
With the grind and,
Yes, yes.
What's the cost of that versus turning it all back to gravel?
You know, I didn't look at that, and that may be selfish reasons, but I drive that road a lot, and I really don't know if the residents, not only McMillan, but Marshfield, Spencer, anybody else traveling that road.
Key right there, Marshfield,
What?
Spencer,
I get it. Yep,
damaged that.
and we're talking to
more so
them.
than we did.
We're talking to them.
Semi trucks, gravel trucks, every other kind of truck that goes on that road
Mhm.
is overweight.
Yeah.
City of Marshfield doesn't care. So why should we care?
Is that realistically what you wanna do though? Turn it back to gravel?
We already have in the township, turn roads back into gravel over hard surface.
This is a main hub.
Main
I'll take it under advisement, I'll look at
Main
it
hub for where?
for everywhere, really. There's traffic flows through there, back and forth to 13th to 97 all the time.
Where does it go?
To the clinic and the
Menards,
hospital.
clinic, I mean,
Correct.
through town, out to Spencer, out to Stratford, back and forth.
The McMillan residents are paying for somebody else to use that road as an access point from Highway 13 to E. They're damaging the road. You take account of how many McMillan residents go down that road, you're gonna find that there's a lot more non-residents that use that road.
If that's really what the township wants to do, I will definitely look into that. But, I don't know. It's a good question, and very good points, thank you.
I'm Bob Spring, I'm one of the other supervisors. And the one thing I think you need to keep in mind is if we turn it back to gravel, there's still maintenance costs associated with that. You're gonna be grading it probably weekly, and you're probably gonna put a lift of gravel on it every year with that volume of traffic. It's gonna be that road pretty bad. So having it paved reduces the maintenance overhead for the township too. So there's an expense associated with gravel roads.
Paul Mansell, 1133 Man Street. How many cars go over that in a day? How are your traffic counts?
Between 3,000 to 4,000. And that's from
Well,
E.
now, just
That's
before you do that,
There's two different counts here.
yeah, what was the other one? If you got two counts,
There's one from E to St. Joe's and St. Joe's to 13. And they're roughly the same though. About 2,000 to 3,000.
and when was that taken?
What's that last year, Rod? I believe it was last year. Yes.
I asked for that count last year and I never got it. In fact, I asked Rod, and, oh yeah, I'll get it to you. I live there.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind gravel. Doesn't matter to me, dust is dust.
Okay. We can definitely put a cost analysis to putting gravel on there. I'm fine with doing that.
What about fixing the soft spots? You haven't said anything how you're gonna repair that road first. You can't just go in and throw something on it and call it a day.
That's why I don't have the total prices in, because there are soft spots, and we have to put that into prices, yes. Anybody else? George?
George Durfus, 133 Roman Road. As far as the maintenance, like Bob said, you know, if it's gravel, that's what we got a maintenance guy, that's what we got a road guy for. If he's got to grade it once a week, so be it. He ain't exactly overworked, if you've ever noticed, so that would be my thought.
There still is an expense, is what you were saying also.
Well, ain't gonna be gravel ain't gonna be nowhere near as expensive as blacktop.
Okay.
Am I correct?
Right.
Huh?
At the beginning, probably not, no. No. But over time, I don't know, I can't answer that question.
I can't either, but you got a gravel pit right up the road here, and,
Yeah.
get it from there.
Well, it costs money though, George, that's what I'm saying. That's an ongoing expense you have to put to that road. Continue.
I know the other night at the meeting, when I brought that, I mentioned something to you, you know, kind of rolled your eyes and
Yeah.
and it was kind of like, you thought you'd be crucified if you brought up gravel. Well, I lived in this township 71 out of my 72 years, and that Mayon Road, when the railroad tracks went across there, I don't know how many people remember that. If you went 40 miles an hour over that, you were airborne. That was how much higher it was. So, you know, gravel's gravel,
Okay.
like Paul said.
So I do know this, when we replaced the culverts down there, we left it at gravel for just over a month before we paved it. And we were getting 2 to 3 phone calls easily on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Well,
Somebody must have been traveling through there, getting the bumps because it was gravel. Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know, but
And then Pat went all the way over there and he smooth it out.
People been
And
spoiled.
it's the same thing, I'm just saying that people expect certain things. And I don't know if the expectation for the township would be to turn that road back to gravel. If you want to, I am happy to give you a cost comparison and a 10-year outlook or a 20-year outlook on this. I have no problem doing that. Yes,
Clarence Ortel, 206-535 County Road E. You do know you have a highway committee that could help you out on all this,
I do,
looking into these projects like that?
I
Paul
do.
Mansell, Jim Seaver, myself, Denny Radetsky helps out once in a while.
yep,
You know, I'm more than willing to help you, like I told you last spring. We
Yeah.
haven't had a meeting yet.
I have not had a meeting yet, no, I have not.
Can I ask why?
Honestly, because I've just been trying to get my head around some things before I dive in and do some of this stuff. I need to understand it first before I can actually talk about it. That's why.
Some of these people could probably help you.
Yep, you're right. it's just the way I do it. That's the way I am. And yes, and Rod and I have actually talked about getting this committee together and get it going. Yes.
Mike Stockheimer, 206-125 Drake Avenue. Okay, if you're gonna do 6 inches of lip and then hard surface it, what is gonna stop the leaching of the moisture from the underlying muck or whatever is underneath there to get up to the blacktop and start buckling it again?
If you get into the soft spots, they're gonna have to be repaired.
Well, boy. There's part of that is built literally in the swamp. There is just no drainage.
I know.
So I don't feel that's a viable option to do.
Okay?
Just doing 6 inches of lip. Where soft spots are, I think you're gonna be running thousands of feet of
Yeah.
putting raker run in so the water doesn't leach up to it.
Okay?
Because base course is gonna hold moisture. And you get moisture underneath the hard surface, she's gonna buckle.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's something to think about.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I got a question, Tom, here in my Birch Tree Road. Does just a discussion of bringing this back to gravel put any pressure on some, other townships or Marshfield, the city of Marshfield to help
It might.
finance some of this? I
It
mean,
might.
if what I'm guessing is correct, is most of the traffic on that road doesn't have anything to do with McMillan Township.
Okay?
And it has more to do with the clinic, the hospital, and people from Stratford or Spencer going into town.
Mhm.
And if, my guess is going to gravel would create a big upheaval for a lot of people. And just talking about it might create a lot of discussion. I don't know that viable or if these people would care at all, really.
That's actually gonna be my first phone call tomorrow. To the city engineer, and talk to them about it.
Because,
See what they actually say.
it's not just really our problem, even though it falls in our lap, but
Mhm.
it's a problem for other people too, especially if you threaten to go back to gravel.
Correct. Yes.
Larry Seelig for Home Tree Road. I'm on the Joint Land Commission with the City of Marshfield. We've had quite a bit of discussion about that road. We've asked them to help finance part of that road, and the answer is no, it's not our road.
We actually just this last week, we looked, when we were applying for the grant, Nicole wrote a bunch of letters out and reached out, and the city of Marshfield, one place she did reach out, and we could not find an answer. I didn't think we did, she went through her notes, we cannot find an answer
I
from them.
asked that
A letter of
question
support.
last week Thursday about the letter they were gonna write to the state to help us out on that. I talked to her tonight about it. She said she never received one.
I got
She
one from-
received other letters and correspondence,
Correct.
but nothing else. So that gives me the input that the city of Marshfield does not care. But all that traffic that comes down that road goes into the city of Marshfield. So, in my opinion, if we turn that road back to gravel, that road's not gonna get used as much by the residents by non-residents that don't live on that road. Then maybe the city of Marshfield will take into consideration to help us out.
And the letters that I got were from the fire department in Marshfield, the fire department in Spencer, and then Marshfield Clinic for support.
Because at our last meeting, we were talking about that road and Dave was there and we got in discussion, I says, just write us a check and we'll be happy. Complete silence from the city. So, that ought to tell you right there. Your
And it
problem,
does.
you fix it.
Yeah.
But they're damaging it, not us.
Okay. Okay. I will do a serious look at that. I seriously will.
Gary Franz, 116451 Birch Tree Road. Maybe you could get hold of the medical complex up there, tell them to discontinue one of their buildings they're gonna build somewhere that they don't need, and put that money toward their road instead.
Yeah, that sounds viable.
Yes.
2020. Have there any more discussions on Man Road with that water sitting in the ditches from the DNR?
Yes.
Because you have got nothing but low. Everything in there is low. There is no drainage.
Yes.
Well, where's the
I
water gonna go?
Yes, I actually, on that note, I did meet with the DNR a week ago. I don't know if it was Thursday or Tuesday. And we walked that whole area from the corner of Edie and Man up to Marsh. And we went down in the lower areas at the end of the cul-de-sacs and stuff and looked at all that. And there's actually a program right now that the DNR is doing. They're about a year into it. And it's about those plateau areas. Because the water table, from what he told me, in the last 40 years has been going up, but since 2019, it's gone up a lot. So right now, that water is just sitting there. And it's like that in a lot of places in the state. That's why the DNR has actually started this program, to see what they can do for us to help us out. That's as far as I mean, he spent 3.5 hours with me. I was really happy he took the time. We went down every road, looked at every issue that we had out there, and he was taking notes, and he said he would get back to me with some information. I'm hoping he does.
Judy Gadke, I live on E. If we would have gotten the 80-20 grant that you spoke of, what would our 20% have been for 1 mile?
It was, the whole thing was, I'm sorry, I just got so many figures going through my head right now.
2.4, if it's 600,000 for a 50-50, it would be 1.2 million. Well, I mean, so if this 50-50 was the same piece that we're talking about, so that's $1.2 million. 600K plus 600K. So 20% of that.
Miles?
No, for one.
For 1 mile.
So 20% of that would be $240,000.
Exactly. It was like 234,000 for 1 mile. But that was to do a major reconstruction of the road.
Right.
Tom, just for clarification, what would the road look like with the $1.2 million deal versus what you were proposing earlier? What's the difference in the techniques?
The grant was for a total reconstruction for that mile.
Are they gonna concrete the road? What are
No,
they-
they were going to be blacktop. We go back to blacktop. Yep, but they were going to dig everything out, change culverts if we needed to, bring it all the way back up, and then re-blacktop.
Do they have to widen that out?
Well, and
They
that
have
was
to take
a,
X amount for the shoulders?
well, I just got, before our last board meeting, I got a letter from the county, from Jim, saying that because of the amount of traffic on that road, we might have to go for this grant. He said he didn't know, we'd have to apply to see if we could get it passed or not, but right now, we applied for 11-foot with 3-foot shoulders. 11-foot lanes, 3-foot shoulders. He said because of the amount of traffic on that road, we may have to bump that up to 12-foot and 6-foot shoulders.
So you'd have to buy property.
Exactly. If we go for the grant, and they don't, and if that is true, I have not gone that far to check into that, but if that is true, yes,
So
That
you-
process would be
So
set
you
back because
take
of that.
that property on both sides of the road or all on one if you were getting the
If we did that, we would engineer it, and I really don't know. I haven't even,
because there's less houses on the north side than on the south side.
yeah.
We believe there's probably roughly 6 houses on the north side of that road versus probably 12.
12 on the other, yep.
So it would be beneficial, cost efficient to do it all on the north side, because then you're going into DNR land. The DNR would have to give up some of their precious land. Maybe we get rid of Jenkins.
2 years back, there was a talk about making that into a county road and tying it into AAA across Donnie Reuter's property. In fact, Donnie Reuter's the one that told me about it, that was kind of talked about. Now, if we want to spend that kind of money in that road and the county takes it over, I don't know. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything if the county is?
It's the first time I've heard this, first time I've heard this.
It's been talking
You know,
about
and
6 years ago.
yeah, you know, I talked to Jim, I'm guessing at least a couple times every other week, if not once every other week. And that has never been mentioned to me. And the width of the lanes per traffic, that's the first time that was brought up to me ever. That's the first time I heard that. Like I said, right now, the process I'm in right now is trying to find out what it would cost, and now I will also find out cost comparison for gravel and upkeep for X amount of years. And I'll bring that back with information and see what direction we can go. I'm compiling information right now. I was just surprised that we got put to 50-50 versus the 80-20.
If you hard surface that road, you're gonna have a great amount of speed versus what it is now, which is a great amount.
And there is a lot of speed on that road,
And with gravel, it's gonna slow it down.
I would hope.
Some people aren't never gonna slow down, whether it's swamp or gravel or what.
Right.
But
Right. But my personal feeling is right now, we do have to do something with that road. Because right now, that road is a dangerous road. People are skirting over the center of it, they're going right to the last second before they pull back over. And like I said, I drive that road quite a bit, and I do the same thing myself, I'm guilty of it. And I hate to see somebody get hurt out there, because the speeds are up. It's not like you're going 45 or 35. Kevin?
So again, the initial thought with that road a couple years back is we were gonna put the lift on it and pulverize it and we blacktop it. We have to see what year, as far as traffic count, how far back that will go or what applies to that. It still might be better off doing that in a few year stage. With the gravel, fix it, gravel lift it, pulverize it, or even fix the soft spots, patch them for now, lift it, gravel, or, pulverize it, and then we're grading it. The binder's gonna be in the gravel, it's gonna hold up. And then if we redo our traffic count for a year or two, and the traffic count's way down, it's not a truck traffic road. Most of the roads in Wood County that we've done, they're county roads, and they're not as wide as what they're telling us we gotta do with the township road. And those are truck roads. So maybe a stage over a couple of years, and then have a plan of a couple of years.
Right.
Doing it to get the traffic count down, if that brings us under that threshold of having a widening road.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Paul?
So timeline wise, are you thinking probably next week work would start since you're still in the initial phase? Are you hoping?
No, I'm gonna have numbers, I hope to have most of the numbers by tonight, which I do have a lot of the numbers, but I did not sit down and put everything together. And there's still a couple unknowns, like the soft spot stuff and the culverts, that I have not added in there. So I wanna have a firm number before I really speak out of turn. I really do. But no, I think something has to be done with that road as soon as we can. So if we can work it out for this year, like Kevin says, if we take it over a couple of years, but something has to be done with that road. Okay, thank you. Seriously, everybody that spoke up, I appreciate it.
Okay, another thing that we're gonna be doing here on the highway is there's an area on Winterberry Circle that we are going to fix. It's a soft spot. We measured it last year and we measured it long. We had 170 feet is what I measured. I don't know if we have to go ahead 170 feet, but we do have to dig out the soft spot. So we're gonna have to dig it out as far as we have to get the soft spots out of there so that we can bring it back up to gravel. We're gonna let it sit for a little bit. We're gonna see how much this costs because we're gonna do it ourselves as our township because we, quite frankly, can't afford to get outside help on this one. So Pat's gonna go out and he's gonna dig it up. And we're gonna get it back up to gravel. We'll see what the costs are at that point, and then we're gonna get. I want to get blacktop back on that. So, and right now, blacktop is just crazy right now. So, see how far it is, see how big the patch is gonna have to be. We can get a price for it and go from there. But that will be done soon, when and if it warms up here. Any questions on that? And as long as we're talking about roads and such,
I don't know if everybody knows, but Pat's helper got sick this last winter and couldn't help out. So as board members at the meeting, we voted to have 2 people help out in the emergency situation, which is what we consider this. And Kevin and Rod said that they would help out for plowing and helping Pat out this winter. A couple things come up here. One is left the job open for Pat because Pat does want to come back. Or excuse me, Gene does want to come back. Thank you. So that job is still open right now. We're going to see about midsummer, see how he's at, and if we're going to have to look for somebody for full time to help Pat out during the winter time. Another thing with this is that the amount of hours put in quite a bit, and I know we talked about it at a board meeting, but I want to talk about it here because my belief is that you people are the ones that should make the decision on this. Am I right on this, Lee? As far as Rod is a board member, and if Rod helps out on the highway, getting him paid for his hours that he's helping out. And I personally think he should get paid for sitting in that plow truck and plowing with Pat. Dorothy.
Dorothy Olson, 204646 Hidden Acres Lane. What have happened with all the hours that he's booked up to this point?
He did not turn anything in. He's punched in all the time. He has his time cards there.
So that's going to change our payment schedule. I mean, that should have been going in right along.
That is not going to go in. Talk to Rod about this. He wanted to come here and get the okay from you people before he got paid for doing that work. Pardon me?
Is that an agenda item on your?
This is underneath our highways here. Yes, this is.
So he's basically banking hours, right?
He's not banking hours. No, he's not banking hours.
Well, how the hell do you expect to get paid?
From now on, as of this meeting, if Rod was to help out, can he get paid for doing his hours? Because Pat's going to need help. If Pat is going to do these jobs, he's going to need help running machines back and forth.
But you as a board had already decided this last winter.
Yes, we as a board did.
Wages.
I'm sorry?
You even set the wages at that point.
Yes, it was. Yes. Rod did not feel it was right to take money for doing this without coming to the people of this township. Yes.
I feel that for the best interest of the town, that should be advertised out and see how many people would be interested in doing that type of work. That's my opinion.
And at that time it did come up.
And at that time, because we were going right into winter, we used it as an emergency to help out. Yeah. So if that's what you want to do, we can do that. We can advertise for part-time help, but the thing is that we need somebody that can be on call. So if Pat's running down to do this job, and he's running machines back and forth, he can get rides, or he can get help.
Well, I understand Rod works at O'Reilly's, so how is he gonna be able to just stop working at O'Reilly's to help out?
I can't answer that question, but.
So I think we should just put it out for advertisement, really.
Yeah.
Does the public take a vote on how they would like this handled? We haven't talked about.
Yeah. Legal clarify here.
Okay. So at tonight's annual meeting, we can conduct any business that the annual meeting can conduct. This is one of the things that it can decide. This is a balance between the elected officials and the town electors, okay? An elected official cannot work as a town employee and get paid for it unless this body sets the wage. If you'd like the board to set that wage directly, where they'd set their own employee wage, as an elected official, you have to delegate to them that authority. So if you really want the board to set their own potential employee pay, you could vote to delegate that to them tonight. Or you could just select a wage and approve that for if an elected official does employee work.
Isn't that taking that out of their hands as electors?
Not if you do the wage direct. You can do the wage yourselves, you can set their wage, or you can delegate it to them to set the wage. He's asking you to just set the wage directly. So he's not trying to take it away from you, he's asking
Well,
you.
you're still taking it out of the hands of the electors by not having your voice in determining what they can pay them.
No.
That's what I'm asking.
The vote would be to have a motion on what the wage would be.
Right.
So
The vote is gonna be whether we can have a town official working part-time, from what I understand.
they can do it, like Ron was doing it, but they can't legally get paid for it unless the wage is approved somehow.
Well, that's what I mean.
Okay.
So the motion technically could be to put it out for bids for an employee.
Advertise for part-time help.
Advertise part-time.
Well, the town will just have to deal with what employees they can find, okay? And if an elected official doesn't want to do it for free, you know, that's their choice. The vote is only whether, if they do that work, if they can get paid for it, okay?
Gary.
I just got a question for you,
Okay.
yeah, just for clarification. You said there were two choices, delegate or set the rate. What happens if no action is taken?
Correct. So if there's no action, then there's no approved rate for an elected official to earn for town employee work, therefore they can't. Okay.
Thanks, appreciate it.
I have one more question, yeah. So in January, when we voted on this 4 months ago, I know that conversations were held with you, and I was under the impression that Rod could get paid, because Rod did reach out to you and follow up with you back then. That was one of the bills that we approved.
I think Rod and I did talk about that, and I told him that if the electors never did anything, then the electors still needed to do something.
Well, that never came up, so we voted back in January and had this all squared away, so that's why I'm confused why this is all coming up. So there's clearly a disconnect somewhere was going on.
I don't know if Rod can speak out loud right now, but that's been the answer for a long time.
I mean, Tom, Bob, Kevin, you were all at that meeting.
I agree. Yes. I agree. Yes.
Terry Franz, 116451 Birch Tree Road. I think there's a limit on how much they can earn though.
Yes, there is.
I don't remember what it is.
15,000.
Is it 15?
Yes.
I think
You should be fine.
So there's an annual earnings limit for such an official to earn in employee wages. The annual limit is $15,000 per year. I heard someone say it used to be 5. That is correct. It did used to be 5, but that number was changed a few years ago in statute.
So what if he goes over that?
Then you can't get paid.
So he's gonna work for free?
I just did, is my understanding.
So in my opinion, if you're gonna have an employee earn $15,000 that's on the board, and if he goes over that $15,000, he's not gonna work for free,
Then you got a problem.
then you got a problem. So in my opinion, put an ad in the paper, part-time help needed for highway department, town of McMillan.
That's consensus?
I would love, I'll make that a motion.
What's your name again?
Larry Sears, we have Elm Tree Road.
Second it.
Let me get the motion, and who's the second?
Clarence, or Cal.
Can I just ask a question before we like vote on that motion?
So I have a motion on the floor right now and a second to hire part-time position out for the town of McMillan
Highway department.
Highway Department.
Advertisement for
Advertisement.
part-time highway department employee. Okay, so I've got the motion as, put on advertisement for part-time highway department employee.
And a
That's
second.
the motion on the floor.
Now discussion. Yes.
The question I have is, the gentleman that is sick now or whatever, how long has he worked for us?
I don't know how many years he actually worked for. Anybody know? He's been here quite a while. I do know that. But I don't know exactly how many years.
I would say 10 years.
I would, it's been a while.
So I guess I'm just gonna say my opinion. Obviously, my opinion is, I would lean to the side of giving him a chance to see if he can continue his job, if he has worked here a long time. I would be of the nature that would maybe wanna give him a chance to continue to work here, rather than flip around for a 3-month period or whatever, where he can't work. Just my opinion.
So, yeah, and I agree with that, and we are doing this. We're gonna talk again about midsummer to see how he's doing. At that point, we decided that we'll probably make a decision whether we should start looking for somebody to help out for the winter time or not.
So we're talking about winter?
So, right
We're
now,
talking about summer? then?
right now, I need somebody here to help
Yes.
Pat this
Yes.
summer, yes. So I need help for him right now.
So when we discussed this back in the winter time, we didn't know the duration that Gene would be out. We believed it was gonna be weeks, so we just wanted to get through the winter. I think now that we have the information that he's not gonna be available through summer, I think it makes sense that we advertise for part-time help through the summer.
Don't you think it should be temporary part-time help until he comes back?
Well, when you advertise it, it'll just be.
I think it will be temporary as advertised. Yes. Yes. And it, can you read what that is again, please? The motion.
Yeah, so the motion currently stated is put an advertisement for part-time highway department employee.
Another comment?
Do you have?
Okay. Just a legal comment, the motion that's as stated as advisory to the town board for a normal employee, the town board's just in charge of that. The motion can proceed, it's not a mandatory directive, just so we're aware. So everyone understands.
So if the constituents here vote to do that, take that under advisement that they want that done.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
So then they have to do it.
No.
So
No,
then
it just
why
said
do
it's
it?
advisory.
The motion he asked for was to set the wage for an elected official to do town employee work. No one offered such a motion. So
So So
But
our
there's a motion on the floor now, I just want you to understand, that's a different kind of motion. It's not annual town meeting business per se, so it's advisory to the town board.
And our advice to the town board is to do what the motion states,
You don't pass it.
if it's passed. And if they don't do it, then what? If they don't take our under advisement, what we proposed and voted on, then what?
We will hear from you.
Pardon me?
We will hear from you. Correct. We
You're
will.
hearing from us now.
Yeah, well, that, you asked the question. I'm
I
sure.
mean, I'm talking to him now. Well, then what?
Okay.
He's the legal beagle.
Okay, the question is, what's the effect of the motion as stated if it passes? There's no legal effect. That's what I'm saying. If you wanna have a motion to provide advice to the board, it's your meeting tonight. It's not a legal mandate. That's what I'm trying to make clear.
I guess, I got a question here again. Okay, talk. I think what the question's being asked in a sense is if the board doesn't take this under advisement, this motion passes, can they decide that, well, they'll pay, somebody on the board to work without us setting
This,
the rate?
the motion, okay, the question as I understand it, the motion as stated, if it is adopted by the body, will not have the effect of setting an hourly wage for an elected official to earn doing town employee work. It will not affect that issue,
Okay,
because it's not related. That's the difference I'm making. The one requires the electors, the other one does not require the electors, so that's the difference in effect.
So you're saying really the motion is a recommendation?
Yes, as stated.
That is why we're here. Seriously, for the feedback.
So that's something we don't vote on then? We just give it as a recommendation?
There's a motion on the
There's a
floor.
motion on the
There's a
floor.
motion, second on the floor.
I'm gonna- If there's no more discussion,
So how serious is the feedback gonna be?
I'll bring it up at this, I will bring it up at the next board meeting. If we can get a clerk and we can get advertisement out in the papers, it'll be in there. Okay. Okay, so we gotta vote on this then. So, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay.
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 Motion carries.
I have a question. So if we can't get somebody temporary, then we haven't really figured out what we're gonna do if we're gonna pay an elected official. So then that'll be in your hands.
I kind of took that as mute, that,
No. Without your positive authorization for the town board to pay, for the town to pay an elected official for hourly work, there is no authorization, they can't get paid for doing that.
Okay, got it.
So to do that, you'd have to have a special meeting again to bring it back? For that to get done?
If there's no motion on it tonight, then,
It's done
It's not
for
gonna
a year?
well, Kevin,
Are you referring to 6010, section 3? It is just, one of the items that we can do here is it fixed compensation for town offices. That's it. There's nothing in there about paying to do anything different. We have powers of.
look at 60.10(1)(G). That's the one that covers what he was asking the motion for. Okay?
Where does that one read? I don't have that one.
The motion he was asking for from the floor, which was not heard, was for a motion to set the wages for an elected official to earn for doing town employee work. Okay, and that's referenced in 60.10 sub 1 sub G. That's an ability of the annual meeting to do. Without that authorization, you can't do it as a town board.
Just a question from what I had. Different sections.
Yeah, the 60.37 is what you were looking at. There's some of it covered there.
Okay? Yep. Okay.
I thought we had it figured as a board level before anyways.
Yeah, I do too.
You didn't have the ability to do it without this body sometimes saying that you could.
Because we were in an emergency, so we needed somebody. That's why I thought we could do that then, from the feedback we received. So,
There's a justified emergency.
But
having two people doesn't justify emergency, because you can go 3 or 4 days without having to plow the roads. We don't have to have them cleared every time it starts snowing. We don't have to have the people out. So. The township has done above and beyond when it comes to snow plowing for years. We just make it.
I agree.
so if we can't find temporary.
Roger Whitman, 111723 Hadmer Lane. Tom, I got a question about the roads yet. I live down on Hadmer, and I was just wondering if there's any talk or anything like that about looking at that road also. About getting it.
As far as fixing the road?
Yeah. Repair work.
Actually, yeah, it's definitely there. I mean, I'd love to tell everybody that I can come out and fix every road. But seriously, right now, I'm looking at less than $60,000 in budget to do what we have to do this year. That's where I'm at.
And I understand, you know, it's just that I was wondering if there's any, like every other road around Winterberry, yeah, I know, that one does too, but so does ours.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. There's a lot of them. There really are. Our roads are deteriorating big time.
I'm gonna say one thing about that, we keep lowering the mill rate, pretty soon our roads will be for crap. So, right now, our roads are going to hell.
They are. Yes, they are.
And you will lower the mill rate anymore, we ain't gonna have roads. And everybody wants nice black top roads, it ain't gonna happen. Unless somebody can get water, money out of the sky.
Anybody else on highway? We're gonna go on to the next item? Yes?
Do you still, I'm confused a little bit here about, do you still want someone to make a motion to pay a certain amount for an elected official to work with Pat?
I asked for that, but I can't ask for a motion. So it fell.
You can't make a motion, you can ask.
Yes, I'm sorry.
You can't make the motion, but
correct.
is that's what needs.
That was my
your
hope
question.
with my question. Yes, it was, but it kind of fell on deaf ears, really. So
So, I think that what's happening is, I understand that everyone wants this to be put out for, an advertisement for part-time highway help. I don't know what the pay rate is gonna be for that, but if it's not competitive, I mean, everyone knows that the unemployment rate is very low, so the odds of us getting somebody for part-time help, and if the pay rate is low, it's probably pretty low, and if there's no pay rate set for the elected officials to do town work, then they either have to do it for free or not do it, and it just won't get done. So I think that this is I think that Tom's requested motion is just more of a safety valve. You know, if we can't get it filled by employment through the advertisement, then the work can still continue versus otherwise it just potentially won't.
We have a pay rate for part-time help on the highway.
$15.
But not for board, not for elected officials.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about part-time help.
Okay, so if we can't get somebody, if there's no applications for $15 an hour for part-time help for the highway, then there's no, like, I guess I don't see the reason why a pay rate couldn't be established at $15 or $14 if you wanna like.
I guess
give
we ought
the
to pursue
officials, just as an insurance policy so that the work can get done, like plowing roads. I understand Kevin's point, if the roads are being plowed too frequently, that's fine, but you know, if there's whatever, some sort
We
of.
ought to exercise our avenues on the motion I made first and then deal with it if we don't have anybody show up.
We did. We did. That passed.
And it already passed.
Yes. So the question on the floor was, from Carolyn, am I still looking for a wage for employees doing work for the township? And I am. Elected officials. And I am. Because, I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take to find somebody. We could find somebody tomorrow, but we could find somebody going into winter. I have no idea. All we can do is advertise. In the meantime, it's going to be very hard for Pat to do his job alone. And that's what I'm looking for, is somebody to help Pat run the trucks, graders, give him a ride back and forth to the job, whatever it is that can help him out so that we can get some of this stuff done ourselves versus hiring everything out. That's all I'm looking for. And the reason I'm coming here is because this is not emergency right now. This is not emergency. And that's what we talked about plowing before. This is until we advertise and get somebody, short term. And I was thinking in my head that, you know, we're gonna talk midsummer to see if I have to go at that point and try and find somebody. That's what I was thinking. But we will do it now with the motion that was carried.
Still, George, how many projects does he have that he's gonna need all this help?
Even if it's just the one, George. So that guy helps him for a week or 2 weeks, whatever it takes to do that job. Even if it's just the one. I'm not talking about a full-time, part-time employee. I'm talking an employee that can be on call. If Pat is gonna be doing something, he can coordinate ahead of time and say, hey, I'm gonna be doing this for this day. Can you help me out this day? And then maybe on Thursday, you can help me get machines back.
My point is though, if you talk about, you know, running equipment, well, we don't have that much equipment over there anyhow, but why, if he takes whatever to wherever he's going, why don't he just jump in it and bring it back? That, I guess that would be an idea.
If he takes the crews there, he's gotta have a dump truck to load it.
Exactly.
Dump it.
You got the sweepers, you got the dump. Yes.
I would like to move that we do set a rate to pay an elected official. I'm not gonna move what that should be, but you got the amount, well, you said we would advertise for $15 an hour, that's the going rate?
That's what we have right now is our.
Okay,
our
I move that we, let's see, that we do allow an elected official to be paid $15 an hour to be an assistant to Pat on an as-needed, this isn't just like, oh, I feel like it, an as-needed basis to get through some of these, at least beginning of these projects. We may never get anybody to fill a part-time position.
That's what I'm afraid of, yeah.
And so I would like to make that motion that we do $15 an hour to an elected official to get us through some of these projects. Until we can hire somebody if we can.
I second that.
What's the second, what's your name?
Bernice Mercer.
I'm sorry?
Bernice Mercer, 1165-77 Riverside.
This is a different motion.
I'm sorry, I didn't state my name, Judy Gadke.
Okay, so we have a first and a second on the floor. Do we have any discussion?
I have a question. So anytime that Rod plowed from January till that's all been null and void?
Yep.
Oh,
Yes. Gary Imhoff, 112-515 6th Street. So the person that you're gonna hire for part-time, he has to have a CDL.
You will have to have some
Right.
yes.
And trying to find somebody doing that is a joke.
Part-time.
Right,
Exactly.
but regardless, I mean, you aren't gonna find them because nobody wants to work for one thing, and they aren't gonna work for nickels and dimes. You know,
That's-
it's sad.
Yes.
How do we know that until we find out?
Exactly. We'll advertise. We'll see. We'll see.
You can't make assumptions until you have the paperwork in front of you.
We'll see. That is my fear, honestly, but we'll see.
You gotta pursue all avenues first.
Now, we still have Gene Schneider, if he's well enough, correct?
We will not have him till at least midsummer.
Okay.
That would be the next connection time that we're gonna have and see how he's doing.
I thought we also had Mark Stroman helping out with the town. What about him? No? Couple years ago? He was here.
What was that, Captain?
Steve Troutman, he's
Troutman.
Oh,
Yes.
Gary Brand. Yeah, Mark Stroman may be available,
Mm-hmm.
because I think he retired from the school system. But, another thing you gotta understand here is what he needs now, you know, if he takes a piece of equipment somewhere, and he's gotta come and take another one, I mean, they can take the 1-ton truck or whatever, which they don't need a CDL for, go pick them up, bring them back, and then he can take whatever he needs, the next truck or whatever.
And if I'm available, I do that for Pat. I've never had a problem with Pat calls, I need a ride, I give him a ride. He brings his truck in for service, I go pick him up, bring him back. But I'm not always available either. And unfortunately, this summer I have a lot of work out of town. So I'm not gonna be around a lot this summer. So that's why it's concerning me that if he's gonna go out and do a project, it's just gonna take forever to do a project if he's alone. And that's why I'm asking the question. That's. Any other discussion?
I'm gonna answer the question in a second. Trying to look it up so I don't misspeak. There's a CDL exception for communities under 3,000 population in certain circumstances, which is a CDL exception that would allow driving that vehicle. But the payment issue is separate. It's what the motion is on the floor. I'm trying to look this up for you.
for emergency services.
And maybe that's what you guys were referring to at that meeting, but that's separate from the pay issue. It allows the CDL exception.
Any other discussion? Those in favor on the motion on the floor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it. Motion passes.
But that still means they have to have the CDO requirements, no restrictions, air brakes.
Correct. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now we will go on to the next item. Committee reports as requested by voting members.
That's a town board ruling.
Some of the stuff is never on the sentence.
Tom,
Yes?
annual meetings never have committee reports.
Okay.
That's a town board meeting. This is the people's meeting.
Okay.
They don't hear.
Okay, thank you. The next item is set next year's meeting date. We have down April 18th, 2023, third Tuesday of April.
I make that motion.
I'll second that.
Hold on a second. Larry?
So we have a motion and a second on the floor to set next year's meeting date, April 18th, 2023, third Tuesday of April. Any discussion? Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Tom,
Yes.
I make a motion that we pick a venue for this meeting, because you have a heated pavilion that can also hold this in, and not just at the fire station.
I think the building should be remaining the same where it's been held for the last how many years?
There's a motion on the floor to set a new venue for the meeting.
I guess I need to know the reason why it needs to change. That would be a good thing to know.
Just because you have another option to choose from, you have a heated pavilion that's not being utilized, that you can utilize as part of the meeting facility.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
Okay. No second. Sure. Next item is announcements.
The next items are the announcements. The tire recycling is going to be held on April 30th, 2022 from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Red ID cards needed to recycle tires are available at this meeting. The Board of Review is held May 4th, 2022 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Hey, Tom,
Yeah.
before everybody leaves, I'm just curious, you mentioned earlier that they had resignation of the treasurer and the clerk.
Yeah.
Can you share any more about that? I mean, just abrupt?
I don't know.
Hey.
Okay, yep.
Bruce Wyman, 209291 Galvin Avenue. I received an email from Mr. Katona, and I'm going to read it because it's fairly short.
Do you want this, or?
What?
So you want this so people can hear you?
Can you hear me? During the 3 summer months of Rodney Bauer's tenure as chair, he vilified and attacked the reputations of 3 members of the Plan Commission. Unnamed sources from the county were mentioned. Since then, Bauer has stated to board members that he intends to get the clerk. That's in quotes. People have been requested to attend the annual meeting to voice complaints for this purpose. Vilification of the township staff, attempting to damage reputations and settling grudges has transcended coffee clutch level to official behavior, and that's wrong. What a reward for those serving the township. Everyone on staff not affiliated with the fire department has been attacked this way. I decided not to wait my turn. Steve.
Can you send that to me so I can include it in the minutes? Thank you.
We've got a comment session coming up here yet, don't we? I got a lot of stuff to say.
This is our meeting, so I guess we should be allowed comments.
I would certainly think.
Is there any more annual town meeting business? Ask that first.
Do we have any more annual town meeting business?
Wouldn't that be considered business?
I guess I got one that and I don't know what happened 2 years, we all see where our dollars come from, for our taxes, okay? We know we got Marathon County, we got, Marshall School District, we've got Mid-State Tech, we've got Stratford School District, we got Spencer School District, North Central Technical College, 0 for McMillan. I don't see it. What do we live on? What is the county money's for? Because we gotta pay the city of Marshfield, library, and we gotta pay for the ambulances. I don't see it. This money's falling out of the sky.
We just wanna make sure, so in the statute for annual meeting powers that can be voted on tonight, was there anything else under that that anyone wanted to make a motion on?
Okay, George, I'm gonna open up comments.
All right. The first thing is, the fire department budget is higher than the road budget this year. Why would that be?
I'm sorry, George, one more time, please.
Pardon me?
One more time, please.
Pay attention.
I got it.
Fire department budget is higher than the road budget this year. Why would that be? They don't come along and say they need more because look at all the stuff they got here, you know. Oh, maybe you can't answer that. No,
I really can't, because I do know that my budget is really small for the highways.
Yeah, and the fire department ain't.
Do you want me to take that, Tom?
1 second, George. Lori,
You want me to take that?
if you can answer that, that'd be great.
The reason the fire department budget is higher is because we have an engine that needs to have a foam pump fixed in it. And we also have an air compressor that we need replaced, that we tried a year or so ago and it got kicked out of our budget. We have to get it fixed. It does not fill our air bottles to the capacity that they're supposed to be. So we don't have all the air in our breather bottle that we're supposed to on our first initial attack on a fire because our compressor doesn't go up to that amount. And our engine, we have to have the foam pump fixed to be able to utilize the foam that we have.
They don't have the same foam that's hazardous, am I correct?
No, we have other foam here that we can use in there that's not hazardous.
Well, I'm not gonna get long on this because we already spoke about that over at a meeting. Anytime you mess around with chemicals, it's bad rabbits, plain and simple. And you can sit there and say, the DNR says this is wonderful, and blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? The DNR's been wrong before.
The foam that we purchase is approved by the DNR for use.
Big deal.
If the DNR approves it, it's gotta be okay for us to use in the environment.
So how long has this truck that with the foam thing been sitting that hasn't been run?
What, at least a year, Rod?
So you ain't missed it, have you?
But we have to have it, cause it's already
Why?
on the truck.
We got mutual aid, don't you, with these other fire departments?
Yes, but not all of them have a foam pump on them.
What the hell you use foam pump for? It's basically for
We
a
can
car
use it-
fire, am I
We
correct?
can use it on car fires, we can use it on a structure fire. If we're having issues with putting the fire out, we can put foam on the fire to help smother it. We can do that on a structure fire.
Well, let's be real, most of the time, when there's a fire and you come in with your foam thing, you're basically gonna save the basement. Am I
No, we're
correct?
not. We've saved houses.
Oh, wonderful.
We've saved complete houses by doing our attack like we normally do.
I think this foam thing is bad rabbits.
It's a tool in our toolkit that we actually need, because a lot of the newer cars out there, we can't put them out with water. We have to use foam to put them out with the newer cars. We don't have options on these newer cars that are out there.
Well, that's your opinion, I have a different opinion.
That's manufacturer's recommendation on any of the cars pretty much.
Okay, my next one.
Thank you, Lori.
Now, my wife gave me this information. She said there's a ton of grants that are available for fire departments throughout Wisconsin. And, you know, some, this fire department wouldn't qualify for, some they would. And apparently, they're not getting applied for like they're supposed to. And at the monthly meeting last Monday, Lori, she said, when asked by Nicole, she didn't have time and didn't want to spend a Saturday applying for this grant. You know, there's paperwork involved, we understand all that. And now my thought would be, if she doesn't want to do her, and she's assistant fire chief, if she doesn't want to do her job, maybe she should resign, and if there's somebody else in this fire department that can do these grants, take her position. That's just my, just opinion. You're not Bauer, so you ain't gonna answer me. Okay. Yeah, this one I can't ask either because he can't talk. 'Cause I'm curious about, when he was campaigning a year ago, he campaigned on 2 lies and about McMillan having their own ambulance service. And he denied it at a meeting when I asked him about it, which is typical. And I've talked to 2 different people that were concerned about this. So I was just wondering if he's still planning on doing or having, where we're gonna have our own ambulance service. Have you heard anything?
I have not heard of that, no.
Because it would be totally economically unfounded. I mean, there's no way we can afford it.
We can't afford to do what we're doing now.
Well, tell him that. He's the one that campaigned on that.
I'm talking about 2 people right
Oh,
now.
where are you? Okay. Now, here's another one I can't. Oh, maybe you can. Okay, now, remember the first 3 meetings? He made motions to get rid of 3 members of the plan commission. And the motion failed twice and never got a second the 3rd time. So then he finally dropped it. Now, I'd like to know, is he planning on still getting rid of those 3 members of the plan commission?
I have not heard one word on that, no, not one.
You ain't very helpful.
I'm sorry.
Is he back here?
He is back there, yes.
Ask him and tell him either flip me off or whatever. Flip me off will be a no. And
George, nothing has been said about that, nothing. Seriously, it has not come up in conversation.
Can I ask a question relative to the planning commission?
no, I got the floor. Am I correct?
You do have the floor.
Wait until I'm done. I really would like to know that, because the bottom line on that whole thing is it's a vendetta against Dorothy Olson is what it amounts to, and it really pisses me off that a small community like this should be pulling together, and all it's been is try to screw over Dorothy. And you know, she's the head of the plan commission, has done a really good job. Are you rolling your eyes or what?
No, my eyes are dry, George, I'm sorry.
You can roll your eyes, my wife does all the time.
My eyes are dry, George.
So you don't know if they're going to?
Nothing has been talked about.
Can you ask
since
Bauer
that
to either
meeting.
nod his head yeah or no?
I talked to him after that meeting, and it's a dead issue from that point.
But
nothing has been brought up since.
Okay, yeah, but now, okay, the only one that I give a whole lot of credit to for that what was the second meeting, I think, was Bob Spring. He voted against it, Nicole and Kevin, and so that nixed it. Okay, you voted for it.
The first time I did.
Huh?
First time I did.
Yeah,
second time I did
first
not.
time, yeah. And so anyhow, I really hope that they don't. I really do. But I wouldn't. The thing of it is now, he don't need you and Bob. He's got Taco and Opus, and they're going to follow his lead. We all know that. So, okay. Oh yeah. Well, that'd be cronyism. He's got his replacements in line already. I thought Kevin would have something to say. Okay, now this one has happened last night. Okay, I'm sure you heard about it.
I heard about it.
Okay, Bauer and Taco, they were in the office there. You were hacking the computer. Am I correct?
I was trying to access the computer
Same difference.
as the clerk pro tem.
No, same difference. You were hacking the computer.
Appointed by who?
Yeah.
By Rod.
Appointed by who?
The
It takes the
Okay,
board.
here's our problem. Lee.
No, wait. Listen to me. Okay, whip out your statutes and show him, he was not on the board last night.
He was not. I
don't-
was, and so was
I
Kevin,
don't
and
have
he had
to
no
be.
idea.
I don't have to be.
So anybody can walk over there and they can hack that computer? Any resident?
No.
No, you did.
Section 176.13C of the Macmillan Town Code says, if the town clerk is not present at the time of the initial roll call of the meeting of the town board, then the town chairperson shall appoint the deputy clerk or any other person present at the meeting to be clerk pro tem. The town
There was
clerk-
no meeting. It was you and Bauer.
Right, I was trying to get the minutes. I drafted the agenda as the clerk pro tem.
He's
You
been
were
a
wrong.
town clerk. This goes back to the appointment at the start of the meeting. He's the clerk for this meeting. This, and only this meeting.
But
What
he
about
wasn't last night.
At 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Now, I'll tell you what, you talk about sleazy. You and Bauer go sleazing up there in the dark. That's wrong. You ain't got no right to do that. That's wrong.
You don't want to hear the minutes from last year? You're not interested?
I could care less about the minutes from last year. We're in the now.
Okay, I was trying to present information to the.
You
to
were
the-
wrong. You were absolutely wrong. Then why did you go sprinting out of there like a scalded dog? That's what Kevin said. He said you went sprinting out of there. You know you were wrong. You weren't.
I didn't
either.
sprint. I actually stopped and waited for Rod and talked to him on the way back to the fire department.
You were not a board member as of last night at 9 o'clock, and you shouldn't have been there.
Can you read the ordinance again, Lee, please?
He's got the ordinance in front of him. I just know the statute. If there's not a clerk available for this meeting, it's just a town chairperson appointment for a clerk for just this meeting.
This meeting, last night at 9 o'clock.
There was no meeting. That's right.
There was no special board meeting called, there was no appointments made by the current sitting board.
Right.
He was a private
For
citizen.
this.
Nobody has access to that except for board members. All board members, current sitting board members, are custodians of records. So technically, we all can be in there as active board members. John had no right to be sitting behind that computer. What was he after? You can say one thing, you can do another. There's a lot of records in there. I talked to multiple clerks in multiple townships today, and they said ethically, it is all wrong. I cannot find a law or a statute that says who has the right to do that stuff, but ethically, that was wrong last night. There was no communication with any of the other current board members. Bob, did you have anything? Tom?
I was asked if I could get in the computer. I told him, no, I cannot. I'm not versed in computer.
But you were on board.
Yep.
So none of us
Nobody
had,
contacted me either.
He's not. That's right. He's a private citizen investigating town property at the direction of the town chairman, correct?
Actually, he's looking at records that are about contain employee information, and they only will hold closed meetings to discuss that sort of thing. So he really had the opportunity, whether or not he did it or not, is another thing. But he had the opportunity to get in there.
Were there any laws broken when he did that?
He was looking for minutes, right?
I couldn't find any laws that were specifically broken.
All right. He said he was doing it in preparation for this meeting as the clerk of it. Those are the minutes that were not located, point of fact. My
He wasn't
understanding,
supposed to do it. He was not a board
He
member.
was not appointed to,
it wasn't a board member issue.
It had to be.
Why
No,
not?
it did not have to be. He was appointed to be the clerk of this meeting.
He's a private citizen. But not
That was
last
in the
night,
law.
without your
This
statute
meeting.
that you showed me. He is not a board member until, whatever, or today. 9 o'clock last night, when they were skulking around up there in the dark, he was not a board member. He had no business being up there.
So he had
I mean, you guys just, this board, and, I mean, it's gonna be hell to pay for the next 2 years, or year for sure. I mean, with all the unethical crap that you guys wanna pull, it is unethical. You can sit there and say what you want, anything you want, you are unethical, big time.
did you advise Rod yesterday during Saturday, Sunday, any Monday or any things to allow John to do that Monday night not being a board member? The process of appointing a deputy clerk was the only other person that should have access to that at the time, other than a current board member that is sitting.
why wasn't the county notified of this so they could have a deputy
Yes.
clerk present?
Yes.
That would have been the best step to take,
Yes.
instead of have a private citizen go into the computer in the town hall,
That's what happened last time. The
without
county
any
had-
authorization from anybody, except for one person. That's illegal.
I wish that somebody would call the deputy clerk. I didn't wanna do that. I spent most of the time.
Why didn't you turn it down when you were asked?
Because I was trying to be helpful. My campaign was all about getting the information to the residents, all of you people.
As an elected official.
Can I finish, please? My campaign was to get the information to all the people. I went to the office last night to get the minutes for this meeting. I spent most of the time trying to get into the doggone computer because the password was not given.
But you are a private citizen.
No. I'm saying that the password was not available. I challenge anyone in
That's
the
fine.
audience.
The point is, you were a private citizen last night when you were up there, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
So why did you do it?
so
To get
based
the
on
minutes
that,
for
and
last-
based on what Lee said when you took effect at midnight this
was
morning, whatever, however we want to do the clock, I don't care. Based upon that, based upon your campaign and you saying that I want to do things right and legal and everything else, I'm asking for yours and Rod's resignation from this town board for violating ethics last night. It may not be a law that was broke, but what you did was wrong.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
I'm sorry that you guys feel that way.
I spoke with Kim Trueblood, the Meriden County clerk, and explained what happened. She said, this is a problem. It has to go to the DA.
And it is going further. This is not.
Okay. I was trying to get the minutes to provide to the residents of the town.
But there is a legal way to do it.
What
And
was
last
the-
night was not legal.
What was the legal way?
Not hacking into the computer.
The legal
I
way
didn't
was
hack
for
into
you
it.
not
I
to do it.
obtained, I obtained the password
That's
through.
still not in. There's information on the computer that shouldn't be open to anybody. That's the problem.
Meetings like this kind of
Guarantee if one of us were-
years.
I challenge anyone to go over there and get access to I'll give you all the information that I had available to me.
We can't.
Well, you can't do that!
We're private citizens.
You must not lock
I'm
anything up.
saying that I was somehow like given this open door to access all this stuff.
Evidently you were. When you were in there, You were in there with Bauer, right? He was sitting there. Kevin walked in on you. Huh?
He opened the door. I
Well,
tried to-
congratulations, at least he accomplished that.
You don't have to be an ass about it.
Thank you, seriously. It's been,
Okay,
that's
well,
how it is all
in
these
response to
years.
Kevin's request, I am not resigning my post.
Oh.
I'm going to continue to, as the best of my ability, to bring the information, all of the information that I can legally provide to the town residents.
Or illegally.
No.
Even if what you did last night is illegal.
Even if what I did last night was illegal, yes, because I didn't know it was illegal.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
How do you know it was illegal?
I haven't looked into it, guys.
Oh, come on, that's
He knows,
for
he
Christ's
knows
sake.
it. He wants it.
Well, you're the attorney, my God. I ain't done yet. Can I go back now or what? We can go back to this thing. You mentioned something about you campaign. Okay, you and Opitz were all campaigning on civility at meetings. Okay, you guys, I don't know if you did or if it was her. Okay, you used the wrong word. It was should have used censor, because from past performances of that meeting, they've tried to censor me, is what it amounts to, the board. Now you can sit and deny it if you want, don't make any difference. And the last meeting I was there, they had Marathon County Sheriff's Department deputy there, and I had no idea. I was wondering what the hell he was doing there, and I remember I asked, and Bauer wouldn't tell me why. He said because I had said inappropriate something or other. Wouldn't tell me what it was. So then I asked you, because I always thought you were more of a square shooter, and you got kind of pricky when you answered me, so I thought, well, that ain't gonna work. You said I was inappropriate at the last meeting. Now, different people went back through Bruce's videos that he takes, and they looked, and they said about the only thing that I said that could have probably been inappropriate was the fact that I asked if we were gonna, fire department was gonna try to get a Dalmatian right on the fire truck, so they got one up on Marshfield. That was about it. Okay, otherwise, so then when you were gonna come out and talk to me outside, remember?
Mhm.
And you never showed.
I was told it was taken care of.
What?
I was told that it was taken care of.
Well, it was a one-sided conversation, I'll guarantee you that.
I'm just telling you what I.
And I'm telling you.
I was getting up to go out, and I was told it was taken care of, George.
I was expecting you. Okay, and instead Bauer shows up, and so I told him exactly what I thought of him and the fire department and the people on the fire department. And I'll tell everybody sitting here, to the point where this fire department is running the town of McMillan. Okay, it ain't the other way around. They seem to think that they're a separate entity, all by themselves, they can do whatever the hell they want. And that is bull. It shouldn't be that way. It's supposed to be the board is supposed to make decisions for the ones over here also. But it ain't that way. Okay, I'm done with that one. Oh, Lee, maybe you can help me on this one, okay? I've got one open record, don't sit and look disgusted. Open record request to the fire department. My wife has 3 to the fire department. Butch Ortel has 1 to the fire department. Mine is over a month old. My wife's is 2 months old, and I'm not sure about Butch's, okay? Look up your little statute thing, and what is the timeline on responding to open record requests?
Well,
okay, let me finish here quick.
depend on the request that is made.
I looked up, they were old statute that my wife had, and it said it should be done in a timely fashion, okay? And they suggested 10 to 14 days, okay? Obviously, these people over here that are supposed to take care of that, they don't know what 10 to 14 days is because we're well over a month. So it's a simple, mine was a simple request. All I wanted to know is how many times that ladder truck went out in the last year. How tough can that be? I don't know, and my wife, she's still waiting for the copy of that FEMA grant, which you are too, probably. So what's the
It
time
can
frame?
depend on the request that's made.
Okay, just say a simple request like I just told you. What is the timeline on that? How long would you say?
Okay, we're getting into,
Come on, give me an answer, Jesus.
okay, so public records law for a minor request, standard timeline would be about 10 business days,
There you go.
okay? Now, I haven't seen these requests, I can't, so I don't know about these ones offhand, okay? Is that fair? And if the board wants me to look at those, they can ask me to look at those. But that's the standard answer. I mean, I've seen all kinds of requests, as you might imagine, in my day.
Oh, I could imagine, yeah.
And sometimes, they take a lot longer. It really depends on what's asked and.
I don't
how
make
difficult they are.
unreasonable requests. I was really curious. I wanted to know how many times this fire truck, this ladder truck here went out. And I also said at a board meeting, I told Bauer, I said, how many driveways is this thing gonna fit in? And he says, every one, he said, it'll fit in, and there ain't no way in hell that's gonna fit in driveways. But that's that's for another day. So, maybe seeing how you're the acting whatever, you should tell the fire department to get on these open record requests. I don't know who's in charge of them. Apparently Lori Bauer is supposed to be, I guess, I don't know, who knows? Okay. Oh, here's a good one. That brat fry that they had on election day. How much money was spent for this brat fry and how much money was taken in? You ain't got a clue.
Well, if they can answer, we have no clerk and we have no treasurer to answer those questions. So if they can answer it.
Yeah, I got a
please
comment
answer.
on that whole thing too.
Tom, I can answer that one.
You know, anybody know?
I do.
George?
I do.
George?
I do. I purchased the groceries for $100. We had some brats and hamburgers in the freezer. They did. The department, we used those, so that didn't cost anything extra. We brought in $400 cash.
Where did the money go?
It goes into the Fall Fest account.
That ain't the way it's supposed to go.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. I talked to Steve Katona, and he said, he's the one that put that bug in my ear on this one. He said, any money that's taken in anywhere up here in the town of McMillan, you know, by the fire department, over there, whatever, is supposed to go to the treasurer. Then it can go back, like to you, I guess you take care of the Fall Fest thing.
No, well, that's what happens. We take it over to him, he deposits it into the general fund, and then the clerk puts it into the area that it's supposed to go to.
Well, that's about, I don't know if that would be illegal.
That's the way it is with everything that's purchased in this township. It goes that's why every bill goes in through the clerk and the treasurer.
Yeah, not in a very timely manner though.
Transparency.
That was one of the problems that they had, that Patty had with the fire department, was the invoices and stuff, they wouldn't get them over to her.
Well, that's a different story. You asked about the Fall Fest stuff.
No, I didn't. I asked about Fall Fest. I asked about the Broad Fry, where the money went, why it didn't go, why you didn't follow procedure and go to Steve Katona with the money, the proceeds from that Broad Fest.
It does. It goes to him.
He said it didn't.
She got it.
And he's not here.
Deposited? I don't know anything. I get it and turn it over. Has it been deposited? Did it go to the, over to the
treasury yet. It is locked in the chief's office right now.
There you go. Well, it just hadn't gotten there yet. That's the way it goes, because it goes to him, and that's the way we did the Fall Fest. Every single cent.
I got news for you. He was just over to our house Saturday, and he said, ask them about the proceeds from that Broad Fry on election day, and it did not go to, and I will believe it. I will ask him next time I see him, because I will see him again, and I'm going to ask him. And then I will get back to you, and I'll let you know.
Well, he's not there, so it'll go in whoever's the new treasurer, because it's still in the lockbox in the chief's office, locked up in the chief's.
Not according to what he said.
Well, how does he know? He didn't get
Because
it.
the
He
Broad
didn't
Fry
get
was
it
on.
because it's still in the closet.
The Broad Fry was on Tuesday, and he.
Please,
Come on.
please,
That's
please,
crazy.
please. I'll follow up on that myself, okay? I will find out where this money is, and yes, if she's saying that is the process.
All I'm
Goes to
saying
them,
is,
then
it's
Patty-
another case of the fire department not following procedure. And after a while, and I'll tell you what, I'm not the only one that's pissed off about that kind of stuff. There's a lot of residents here that are really sick of this fire department and the way they operate and everything else.
Until you have
Well, no,
a fire in your house.
Hey, you wanna tell him to put a cork in it? Cause I got the floor.
George has the floor, please.
Tell him to put a cork in it.
Is there a sheriff here to get him out?
I got
Yes,
that.
there's a sheriff's deputy sitting out in the parking lot that I can go get if I need to.
George, you've got the floor, finish your question, please.
Okay, but I would like to, do you have a copy of Patty's resignation letter?
I did get a copy in my computer at home, yes.
You don't have it with you?
I do not have it with me.
Does anybody here have it? I would like them to read that so they would hear Patty's side of things.
I have it.
Nicole?
Do you want me to come up and use the microphone?
Tom, I have a question on that. Don't we need Patty's permission to read that out loud to all the town residents? Because she did not give the town board permission to put that out to the public. She
We didn't have
did
permission
not
going to
give
office
town
either.
board permission to have that read to the public.
What are you afraid of?
It is, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm helping her with her privacy issues.
So when have you got to law abiding?
I follow this every day of my life. sir.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
An actual follow-up question.
Did you get a call from the Marcy?
This is why I made sure we would finish this actual town meeting business. So if there were actually a motion to adjourn, that's what would, then we just do that. Okay? And I'm not sure that he has the floor, because I don't know what his motion was second. That's how you have the floor.
I think the residents would like to hear that letter.
Yes, it's a town meeting.
And I'll make a motion. Resident meeting.
They can't read it without her permission.
I called her before the meeting. She said it was fine.
Is it writing on there?
It's in.
that she's okay for somebody to read it publicly?
I called her, she told me.
Okay,
I don't
so-
care. It's gotta be written.
George, is this okay? Can I call Patty and talk to Patty about this issue?
She's off her cell phone tonight?
I'm not talking tonight. And at the next board meeting, if she allows it, I will read it then.
So why did
That ain't, no. You've got all these people here, you know, you got the bunch on that side that are against, and they think Patty's a son of a bitch. Okay?
Come on, we're sitting there. It's not a side-by-side.
Okay. So, just so you know, George, we are way past our meeting boundaries here.
Boundaries, what the hell boundaries?
It's our meeting.
This is not town meeting issues right
Well,
now.
let Nicole read the letter. I will guarantee you Patty will not have an issue. Because Patty and my wife are friends, as you well know, and that should not be an issue. And her side should be spoken also on that letter.
Possibly, yes, if she wanted it to be. But the thing I have right now, George, is that you are saying it's okay and that she's not gonna have a problem. Okay?
I don't lie. That's more than a whole lot of people can say. I don't lie. Patty would absolutely. Quit making a big deal out of this. Let her read the letter.
Come up here and read this letter.
Violating the HIPAA law, if it's not in writing.
Let's just,
Then herd me in, what's she gonna do about it?
Don't worry about it.
Sean, when we get sued, then you'll worry.
yeah.
Ain't no HIPAA law.
Where does the Health Information and Patient Protection Act come into this?
Go ahead, Nicole.
Personal. Apparently it came in when Majalski had the accident, you have to fight a person who didn't turn. Kevin has a flat out lie too. That came right from over.
You allowed Steve's letter to be read. That's right. Don't allow this one to double standard.
What's that?
You allowed Steve's letter to be read by.
He sent it to him, wanted him to read it here.
Right.
It wasn't his letter, that was a separate email to me. That was not the, that was, and he asked me to read it.
This isn't double standard.
Tom, it would be too.
No, it's totally different. It's totally different. That was sent to him and asked him to read that.
Well, was she asked to read that? Did Patty
No,
ask you to read
she
that?
asked Patty. Supposedly, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
she told me that if I had a chance, that I should read it, and I'm delegating to Nicole. Okay, so go ahead.
You should read it.
I got a
It means
question.
two different things.
You're delegating from one to the other. Did she tell you that you could read this letter? Tell you yourself?
On the phone she did. I
So
don't have it in
you
writing.
need to just verify that to us before you read it.
Yep. I called Patty before this meeting. She said I could read this letter. So I received this letter on Saturday, April 16th at 3:11 p.m. I don't know if other board members did, but I know I did. This is what she said. Since 2011, the Township of McMillan has employed approximately 13 appointed clerks. I held this position from January 2016 to December 2017, when I resigned stating personal reasons. In June of 2019, I worked as a deputy clerk under the then clerk. I was appointed as treasurer following that resignation, also in June 2019. In August of 2019, after the resignation of the clerk, I was appointed to the position on August 19th. I have since held the position of appointed town clerk. For clarification, I have held this position for 4 years and 8 months. The work of a municipal clerk is at times challenging and rewarding. One of the biggest challenges is working in a position where annual elections change those with whom one works. Changes in elected officials can bring on either smooth or tumultuous transitions. Since the spring election of 2021, and most recently during the campaigning process and following the spring election of 2022, transition and working conditions have been turbulent and stressful to the point of causing physical illness and impairment. The disregard for equal employee treatment not only creates a disappropriate imbalance, it creates what the chair has accused me of in the past without my actions whatsoever. Time and time again, the chair has infused himself into the fire department issues where the chief knew nothing of the certain situation brought to the clerk by the chair. Time and time again, subordinates of the fire chief have contacted the current sitting board members and or campaigning or newly elected members and attempted to take action against me, and the chair shared no information until specifically questioned by me after the fact, at which time the response was simply affirming the question without explanation. Time and time again, he has shared the blame with me due to his lack of follow-up. Further, the chair stated as a response to a public comment question that the clerk never asked, in quotations, to use the restroom facilities when the water was out in the office garage buildings. Furthers the fact of inequity towards employees. In reality, the chair is correct. I did not ask to utilize the fire department restroom facilities. What I did ask was, what do I need to do if I need to use the restroom? The response was that I could take a 5-gallon bucket of water from the fire department to flush the toilet in the garage. Several more situations could be cited. The most recent, however, is truly telling of what has occurred and what is to come. During the last town board meeting, a motion was made to allow exploration of grant opportunities for the fire department. After that board meeting, I received a phone call, shortly after an email requesting more information, and a letter of tax exempt status. In order to complete the application and following that during open book with the town assessor, another request was made to add an alert to the website and further discussion of the need for information to apply for the grant. When I explained I could not attempt to grant either of those requests because there's no Wi-Fi in the town hall, disparaging remarks were made only to elicit a response. On several occasions, I have attempted to resolve issues by contacting the Board of Supervisors via email and verbally. The majority of attempts made have gone unacknowledged and unanswered. What has taken place are orchestrated attacks on my character, integrity, and performance, only exacerbating the unhealthy working conditions. With this, I am formally resigning the position of appointed town clerk of the town of McMillan, effective immediately. Patty, sender notified by mail track. So that's what she said.
So in other words, it wasn't a rose garden for her working over there.
No, it's not.
And because I'll tell you what, I know quite a bit about that, because she would stop over by and visit over by us, and you know, she was treated lousy, plain and simple. You know, at meetings and stuff, I'm going to use Bauer as the example. Okay, at meetings, Bauer was just hunky-dory and ha-ha-ha, everything was hunky-dory. It was, she painted an entirely different picture when they were in that office together. So, I guess I got one more thing, and this is from Steve Katona. Well, no, I do have two more things. When, you won't be able to answer that neither. I was told by two different people that when Swenson was campaigning for Cockle and for Opitz, that he was telling people, part of his campaign slogan was that they're planning on getting rid of the clerk, which is Patty. So I guess, you know, now they don't have to worry about it, they did. So. And my last thing I got is, this is from Steve Katona, he was over Saturday, and he said, you started the shit show, Patty determined the timing. Thanks for hearing me out.
Thank you, Greg. Anybody else for comment?
I went campaigning with John, I went with Carolyn. The reason I did that was because every time I tried to call that clerk, she wouldn't answer the goddamn phone. And the only reason I responded to that was people have told me that when I was at their door. We can't get anything done, we can't get answers for the questions we have. We can't even get a reservation for the pavilion, for crying out loud. It's our facility, we want it. My response was, that's the clerk's duty to answer the phone, and she did not. And I did not malign her at all, other than say that she didn't answer the damn phone.
I got news for you. I could mention their names, but I'm not going to. two different people for certain that the plan was, if Cockle and Opitz get on the board, don't interrupt me. Cockle and Opitz get on the board, they are going to get rid of Patty.
I never said that, and I'll swear to that on a stack of Bibles.
Okay, just,
That's
please.
my response to you, George.
Whatever. You think I believe anything you say?
You already don't, I have my
Dave,
Bible say
please.
just as well as you do.
Don't put a cork in it.
Have the sheriff get them all.
Please.
What I wanted to ask way before, with the planning commission, and this is for my education, the planning commission people are appointed by the town board, is that how that works?
By the
Yes.
chair. They're appointed by the chair and it's for 3-year terms.
And,
It has
and
to
then
be
with,
ratified by the board, doesn't it? It has to be ratified by the board.
Yes.
Right,
The
ratified
chair
by the board,
appoints and the board
chair,
ratifies, so
yes.
yes, the board.
and then the chair is chosen within the group itself or by the board?
By the group itself.
By the group itself, okay, that was my question an hour ago.
Thank you.
The guy next to you wants to.
Don?
Let's see, so, has the bank access for the treasurer, the ex-treasurer and clerk been revoked?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Run the computer over there and find out.
That, honestly, I'm meeting with the bank on
Honestly,
Thursday.
that would
and
be
this
something
is-
that I could have done, maybe.
Yeah, sprint over there, go for it.
But, you know, I mean.
Okay,
I'm kind of
okay.
down on-
So, let me say this, Thursday I'm meeting with the bank on that question, and that is one question I am gonna ask.
Are other, abilities of theirs revoked, like the website access, other online access, access to the Amazon account? Does the town clerk still have, access to the town clerk of McMillan Gmail address? All of that stuff.
You know, one of the best things that this town board and the chairman could have done is when they got that letter of resignation from Patty, give her a call or went over to her house and said, is there any way we can resolve this? And you never know, it might have worked, you just don't know. But of course, nobody did because,
Actually, you're wrong, George. I did talk to
when have I
Patty.
been wrong?
You are. Because
Did you
I
go over
did-
to her
I
house?
did not go to her house.
No, I'm not wrong.
George, I had a long conversation with Patty, yes, I did. I talked to her on Friday for quite a while. And all of this must have come up on Saturday. And when I text Patty, and I didn't expect her to text me back. I really didn't. After the fact, after she resigned, I did text her. And I did not get a response. I didn't expect her to,
Well, then
and I wouldn't.
that's really a moot point because you talked to her on Friday before she resigned.
This is when all this stuff was coming up. We had a long conversation.
Sure.
I got a question for you and whoever in the board present, that existing, the new ones. What are we gonna do now to get a clerk and treasurer present in the town of McMillan? That's my first question. My second question I'll direct towards the attorney.
Okay. Right now, we are compiling a couple names we do have. One, hopefully we'll get an answer shortly if they're even interested in doing this or not. But we do have, we need to get both of them ASAP.
And have you contacted the county and told them the situation?
I personally have not.
It'll be up to the chair to do that?
I don't know if he did or not.
Is he here?
I don't know. Rod is here.
All he's gotta do is nod his head.
No,
So why not?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
And the second part of that question is, it's directed towards the attorney. Have you ever run across anything like this prior in all your legal experiences, what they had done, putting him over in that office to open up the computers when he wasn't a board member?
I can't recall anything specific right now, but certainly, you know, record access issues and access to records comes up. And there's definitely places that adopt more specific policies if they wanna make sure things are done a certain way. This town generally does not have specific policies because your ordinance code is not very good. best I can answer that right now.
So in other words, the answer would be no?
I don't know if I've heard this exact scenario previously, I don't recall. Definitely heard lots of things. At ordinance, setting up access to records is something that's, regularly done in a lot of communities though.
By private citizens?
No, I'm talking,
That's what I'm talking about.
okay, what I heard was that the chairperson was there.
Yes.
Okay,
So why didn't,
No, not the same.
why did
Lee,
the
not the same
chair
thing. You can twist
person
that however you want.
contact a private citizen to do that?
Can't
Have
even
you
open
ever
up
heard
his
of that
fucking emails.
in all your legal?
what he was taught, all I can do is repeat what was said earlier at this meeting, which is that he said he was doing it as the appointed clerk for this meeting.
A
Okay?
private citizen was not appointed.
Honestly,
I asked you
I
the
haven't
question,
investigated it.
have you ever heard of this prior before?
I do not recall.
So
I do
what
not
they
recall.
have, so then your answer that I'm getting out of your answer is what they did was 100% illegal.
No, I did not say that at all.
Why wouldn't it be?
I just said two reasons why it's probably not.
Well, what are they?
Probably.
Because the chairperson was there, and he was doing it as the appointed clerk for this meeting.
But he was not a board member.
I'm aware that he was not a board member at that time.
That's
Okay.
a catch funny.
So would you guys be okay if, say some sort of other private citizen that was a computer expert was trying to help access the records for Rod for the meeting minutes?
No.
No. So how do you suppose that we should have gotten the meeting minutes?
You didn't get him
You didn't get them anyhow.
When I ran into Rod yesterday, when I was talking to Pat, he said we were gonna have this meeting and he is going to just have somebody do what you're doing. Whatever. Nothing about trying to get in the computer, nothing about anything else. Fine, we're having this. I assumed that he talked to Lee or called Marathon County. It was Saturday, had Monday and Tuesday, and Marathon County still doesn't know that we don't have a clerk and treasurer out here. But yet Monday night, again, you wanna do things legal. Before you went in there, did you have any thought in your mind that, can I do this or can't I do this? Elected officials are the custodian for the records.
Okay.
You were sworn in, you did not take effect. Did you know any of that last night? Or is this something that came up today that we're trying to spin back?
I was not
Bring this
attempting to be a custodian of the records. I was trying to locate one specific record. That was my sole purpose.
Yeah, but again, you're trying to access a computer that has records on. The record room was open, the file room was open, which has records in there.
Yes. Rod was in there. I was not.
Excuse me, Nicole, are you computer savvy? There you go. She's a board member. Why wasn't she asked?
I don't know. I wasn't the one that asked me.
Well, does you think that's a little suspicious?
No. I was here drafting the agenda as the clerk. I was trying to help, so I'm sorry that I couldn't.
Any other new business?
Yeah, I got one more thing to say. Okay, with this, I consider it illegal what you did last night. You can sit there and say whatever the hell you want, I don't care.
I understand.
What really bothers me is you had no qualms about doing this, okay? And it's wrong, plain and simple, it's wrong. He even said that he's never heard something like this before. So now you're gonna be making board decisions for all the residents, the 2,000 residents in this township.
That's correct.
You know, whether it's legal or illegal, who cares? She's open. And that's wrong, and that worries me.
Do you really think he looked at all the records last night?
Doesn't
I think
matter.
he was looking at, for one thing, and wasn't doing it maliciously, I can see it on his face.
Doesn't
That's-
matter.
Seriously.
Wasn't there, so I don't know. I
That's-
sure as hell ain't gonna
that's what I was
trust
trying to
him.
do.
No, he's trying to help out, I don't
Dorothy?
think anything malicious
Dorothy
about
Olson,
it.
Please be MP40. But anyways, I just want to remind everybody, whether they won the election or lost the election, the people that are in office, we all are, they're all responsible for all of us. Not just who voted for you, but who voted against you. You're responsible for all of the citizens.
I'd like to respond. I feel like I've been attacked this evening, and I understand why some of you are upset. Clearly, I made a mistake. I am not a lawyer.
John, you should have known better than that.
Absolutely not. I was trying to help. So, I apologize. However, I'm still going to represent the entire town of Mill to the best of my ability.
John, I hate to say it, but you've lost a lot of faith for a lot of people by doing this.
I understand.
Maybe 20 people over there.
Luckily, I have 2 years to gain it back. It takes a very short amount of time to lose faith in people and lose trust. It takes a lot of time to build it back. So I'm starting off on the left foot. But I have 2 years to work my butt off to provide all of you as much information as possible. Currently, my website provides all of the meeting minutes available to me. The current town website does not. If you guys look at my website, you'll see that I'm trying to provide the information to you. I'm trying to help. And if you guys don't want my help, that's fine. And you can vote me out after 2 years. But I'm staying here for 2 years, and I'm going to be serving with an open mind. And I hope that you guys will take my service with an open mind. I think that a lot of you have closed your mind immediately. You guys all know that I was trying to do the right thing. I was trying to get the minutes for this meeting. You guys don't think that I was doing anything malicious. You guys don't. What do I want? What records do I want in there? Anyone? What records would I be interested in?
Let me answer you.
What records, George, would I be interested in?
I don't know nothing about it. All I'm telling you,
Neither do I. All I
we
want
can
to
go
know
right back to when
I can help this
the
meeting.
fire chief Bauer, when the board wanted to have keys to be able to get into the fire station here, he about went berserk over that. He
I
didn't
don't know how
want.
that involves
Don't
me.
interrupt me. I'm talking. And he went berserk over that, and then and Swenson was yapping about all the private records and about everything, and you know,
You're doing a very good
same
job.
difference.
Thank you very much.
You had access to do whatever you wanted up there.
And what did I want to do?
I don't know. I'm not you. I don't know.
Well, I told you.
You shouldn't have been there at 9 o'clock at night sleazing around with Bauer, plain and simple.
Okay. Now we're getting to the point, we're getting no place. I have a motion to adjourn.
We got a motion on the floor to adjourn.
I got a question there about.
Do we have a second?
I second.
You gotta.
Gary has a motion.
No, the motion takes precedence.
Who seconded?
I just Bernice Mercer.
So we discuss it.
Not this motion.
So I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those against, say nay.
Nay.
Adjourn.
My question was, how are you gonna get access to get in the computer? That's the question I wanted to ask. And I also want to see, and we left the computer here. We had a former clerk that had the computer destroyed. And I'm afraid that he's gonna wanna hire her back.
Question or concern about We didn't write anything down, and there's been a lot of things that should have been addressed in a line that skipped over to the